Take a little trip with me and hopefully you can see how the hood, suburbs, and Main Street are all connected. Enough respect it. I mean, we network across the globe cause it's a global market in case you didn't know. And since we all about information flow, let me be the first one to welcome you to Tech Zone with Paul Amadeus Lane. Let's talk tech cause technology changing the game. It's all good in the hood, it's everywhere. Now let's get to the show cause we live on air, yeah.
Yes, welcome to the Tech Zone. I am Paul Amadeus Lane, so happy to have you here on this edition of the show. Like my man Uni Soul said in the song in the beginning, we are live on air and technology is worldwide. Yes, it is. On this show, we're going to have part 2 of my riveting interview with Dan Golden from New Edge. And remember, Dan is a former NASA chief who has a startup company now, and some of the innovation out there that they are going to unleash on the world. Third segment, we're going to be joined by Summer Kim. She works with RemoCam. What is RemoCam? What's it all about? What's up with the innovation of the connected home, the smartphone? One drawback is sometimes people say it's too expensive. Their innovation kind of cuts the major expense out of doing things. So if you're looking to get your home connected, get that smart home, you don't want to miss that interview coming up in our third segment of the show. So I'm not going to waste too much time in this first segment because we want to get to that second part of the interview with Dan Golden. What a privilege it was talking to him. We're going to start off our first segment talking about a trend that we're starting to see. Now, this is something that I came across from the website Marketeer, and it's showing that Americans are, not Americans, but smartphone users, 43% of them are changing out the device every 3 years. Does that sound like you? Well, I can tell you within the last 3 years for me, I've swapped out about 4 devices. So they didn't poll me, no, but I got an image here for some of you who are watching on live stream on YouTube of how it breaks down from devices to users to gender, you name it. Now, the frequency which U.S. smartphone owners purchased new smartphones by gender and OS, June 2016. Okay, 10% are male, it looks like, and 10% do it more than once a year. Now, when it comes to once a year, it's 19% of male. You can see this image right here. 27% once every 2 years. And then we see 20% do it once every 3 years. And then there's about 23% of males that do it less than once every 3 years. But some of these numbers are staggering, and that is that women, female users, they tend to swap out a device once every 2 years. Very, very interesting. Now, what about the devices, Android or iOS? If you can tell by this image, it's kind of even. 10% of Android users once a year, more than once a year, 21% once per year. Once every 2 years, you got about 32%, 35% of Apple do it once every 2 years. And then we go down to once every 3 years, 21% Android, 17% when it comes to the Apple iPhone product. And the same thing, less than once every 3 years, we have 16 to 18%. So this is pretty interesting. Now, 18 years of ages were polled when it came to this, and numbers may not add up. A disclaimer, up to 100% due to the rounding source. But this is pretty interesting. You should check out that article in Marketeer about the frequency of different devices, and you can tell that the carriers are out there are getting used to this. That's why, if you notice the lease plans that they have now, you actually pay off your lease 2.5 years, but they say you can do it quicker sometimes. But it's pretty interesting. Sometimes people need to exchange it because they're getting broke, stolen, you name it. But pretty interesting statistics right here. About 43% of smartphone users get a new device every 3 years. So we're going to be watching this trend. Maybe we can get some of the folks from Marketer magazine to join us and talk about these numbers. I think it's incredible. The incredible edible. Yes, it is. But when we get back, part 2 of my interview with Dan Golden. You don't want to miss that coming up here. This is the Tech Zone. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. Be back right after these messages.